How do you think the conference is going so far?
Well, I think the conference is a really good event to have in the UK. It's always, for me, the main thing I have on my annual calendar. So I'm delighted to be back here again. I'm delighted to be speaking to the conference later on this afternoon.
We've heard from the Prime Minister amongst the three major party leaders who are coming here today. So far, what did you make of what he had to say?
I thought it was a very confident performance from the PM. I took away two key messages. The first one is how confident he feels in the UK economy. And I think he does a really good sales job for us globally around the world. The second one for me is his new reinvigorated commitment to infrastructure. And we heard him announce this morning the roads revolution, a significant investment by the UK government in making sure that we got the right logistics infrastructure to fuel our growth. I think that's incredibly important.
We've also heard this morning about the need to embrace globalisation, and that's a theme you're taking on in your presentation later on about breaking into new markets, isn't it? What are the points that you're going to be making?
Well, there's three areas that we at EY believe are important around globalisation. The first one is the growth of the financial technology sector, building on the great strength of our financial services here in the UK and definitely here in London. The second is infrastructure build. We're going to be pumping a lot of money into UK infrastructure, and that'll create jobs for all. And the third one is the phenomenon of reshoring, bringing back to the UK over 2 decades worth of jobs that have gone abroad. And we now believe the UK is in a great position to provide growth and jobs for those companies that took them offshore a few years ago.
What sorts of jobs can you see coming back?
Well, what we'd like to see coming back to the UK are the top-end jobs, especially the manufacturing jobs. Now, here's where there's a bit of a challenge, because a lot of the jobs that we've offshored over the years have not been in manufacturing, they've been in services. However, the stats show that we have 250,000 jobs to bring back to the UK that could be in top-end manufacturing, especially those that need advanced robotics. And we in the UK are good at advanced robotics.
Are they coming back or potentially coming back to the UK because of something that the UK is doing, or is it just that costs in the countries that they've gone to over the last 20 years have gone up?
I think there's a whole bunch of factors that are driving jobs back to the UK. Definitely the UK is now a more benign environment for jobs and for companies. You heard the Prime Minister talk about this morning the reduction in corporation tax to 20%, the lowest in the G7. But also we are now seeing price squeeze abroad. China's nowhere near as cheap as it used to be. But I think top of a lot of CEOs' minds are the risk in taking your supply chain abroad. It's actually taking your manufacturing 3,000 miles away from where your customer base is. It may be cheap in the past, no longer as cheap, but the risks are far greater. Bringing jobs back to the UK, I think, is something that we need to take a national responsibility for.